Welcome to the Y Connect podcast. As the heartbeat of the community, the Y is a connector where people of all ages and walks of life come together to elevate their health, wellness, education, and essential life skills. Hear the stories of impact and join the authentic conversations where together we'll discover the journeys and pathways people take to connect through the Y. Now your hosts, Zarina, Robert, and Allison.
Hi, you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Is this the earliest podcast we've done? I believe.
Yes, it
This
is.
is probably the earliest.
It is, for sure.
Okay. I
Yes,
think
the
I'm still trying
struggle
to
is
shake off
real.
the morning traffic.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
my
shaking off that
goodness.
morning traffic driving in.
And
How's
we're
everybody
all
doing
in the
today?
same
Right.
building. That's what's exciting,
Yes.
that we're not in the same
Yes.
room. We've got to get to a point where we
Yes.
can record this like in
Yes.
the same room together. We just have to
I'm definitely
make
ready
an
for that.
investment.
Yeah.
I know. That's
Yeah, we gotta find that location. Go ahead and put it together. We build it out.
Oh, wow. Let's get to our guest. He's just
Yeah.
joined us. We're so happy you're here, Isaac.
Yes.
A little intro, if I could just share with you guys the context for today. According to research, children with supportive fathers, this is what we know according to research, have higher levels of social competence and better peer relationships. And children whose fathers are engaged in their learning and speak with them frequently perform better in school. Recognizing the importance of fathers and their impact, the WISE Early Learning Program began the Fatherhood Initiative Task Force led by Isaac White, who joins us today. Isaac is the WISE Head Start program's Physical Education, Health, and Safety Coordinator. He's originally from Philadelphia. He's worked directly or indirectly with the Y for 10 years. He's a former Y Early Learning parent. He served on an Early Learning Policy Council, and he's been a sports coach as well. Welcome, Isaac.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm happy to be here. Good morning. Early morning. Good morning.
Well, Isaac, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question. Are you ready?
I hope I am.
So we would like to know what motivated you and the WISE Early Learning team to establish the Fatherhood Initiative Task Force, and what are the main goals of this program?
One of the the initiative for this task force, like the prelude that you just heard, is that we have a lot of fathers are important, and we have a lot of fathers that are involved, and we want to give them the tools to succeed. So our world keeps changing, and things keep adjusting to new things, and we definitely know that we need to be up with the times. You know, you have to know what's going on. How can you implement new things that'll help our children be successful? So one of the things that statistics will show is that the active father or male figure in the household changes everything tremendously. So we said, look, if we want to be the best at what we do over here at the Y, then we want to be able to work with all facets of the family and make it better. And that's one of the things that popped up to us, is that's what makes things better.
I was in something very similar when my daughters were in elementary school, and it was an initiative that was begun by Tony Dungy, Hall of Fame coach. So it was something very similar to this. And just spending time with your child, and it was specifically for the fathers. So I definitely commend you for this initiative. I think it is very needed, as you just said. As Allison read the statistics of fathers being involved in children's lives, I think it's even more important now than even when my children were growing up. So Isaac, I definitely applaud you for what you're doing. Absolutely.
Right. So we started from the ground zero. We try to meet every father at the basics and the essentials of what you would need to be a bit more active, productive, and a learning father. None of us have the right answers or all the answers, so to speak, but we have a path and a format that can encompass everybody and everything, that give you an opportunity to grow and understand what kind of father you are, what kind of situation that you're in. So we deal with everything. We deal with fathers from a physical standpoint, a mental standpoint, a financial standpoint, and an emotional standpoint, and we try to connect those things with stories, experiences from other fathers to create a situation where you have the tools and utilities to be a better, proactive, productive father.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What are you hearing from fathers? What's some of the feedback that they might have shared with you to date about this initiative?
Fathers are extremely excited just to collab with other fathers. I mean, there's a transition in life for men where men have, they're young, you go out, hang out with the guys in sports, whatever like that. Anything that they do that's prior to having children. But once they have children, there's a different thing that, just like with a woman, her life completely changes when she has a child. But a lot of times what people don't understand is that also men's life change too. And with that happening, we try to put ourselves in situations to be a better father. It was a statistic, and I don't want to misquote it, but in general, what the statistic was saying was that it's almost impossible to get a father to not want to be involved with their child until certain things have been done to make it happen. So a lot of fathers are very interested in being a part. I mean, we're getting numbers like crazy with people signing up and wanting to be a part, and we'll say, hey, what can I do? How can I be a better person? I'm going through this, and sharing some heartfelt things. Sometimes some tears are shed, sometimes some joys. I mean, there's a lot of joy and laughter. So there's a lot of collaborative efforts that come together that makes things happen.
I'm going to tell you,
the fathers are enjoying it.
Community.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
It's been most
community
exciting to actually see the Y staff, the males that we have here staffed at the YMCA, take a hand and participate. How's that been, Isaac, for you?
Oh, let me just say this. I don't do this by myself. We have a great crew from Mr. Ty to Mr. Kitchen to Chester. We have I might be missing a few, but it's a really glad Fred. We have Norris. It's great. It's great. It's a great, because we're excited. I mean, on our side, unfortunately, there's not a lot of us on our side. So when it comes to males, so we all dig in, and it's good because, like, for instance, like I have my oldest will be 14 soon. I got a daughter to be 11 Friday, and
Wow.
and we have other Y male staff that are involved who have newborns or 1-year-olds or 2-year-olds. My boy Arthur, like he's a part of it. We have younger, so it's easy for us sometimes to pass certain things on, and things that we've learned and things that we've made mistakes on, and how to work through those things. So it's very exciting.
Awesome.
And if I can just piggyback on that, one of the greatest experiences being in a similar initiative is the fact that you have so many men that come from different walks of life, different ages, different backgrounds, different philosophies on life, different philosophies on how to raise your children. But it's a safe environment that allows you to just open up, and you take what you can take and you leave what you don't want. And so many of us were able to learn from each other. And even the older, I was probably one of the younger parents in the room, but even some of the older parents were still able to learn from the younger parents, especially if they were grandparents raising a child. And so, there's always an opportunity to learn from each other. So being that it's a safe space, I think makes it that much better for the men to be vulnerable. As you said, shedding a lot of tears. We shed a lot of tears in those meetings, simply because a lot of us didn't know what we were doing. We were just, that was the first time I ever changed a diaper. So I was like, I'm learning from ground zero, so truly it's an opportunity to just really learn and lean on each other. So, yeah.
The vulnerability and the trust is very important in these situations. because men are very much more sensitive than women probably think we are at times, and we're very sensitive when it comes to our children. So in those situations, there's other narratives that are out there, and there's some truths in those, but there's also another narrative out there that fathers really do care and want to be involved. But a lot of times, let me tell you something that's interesting. A lot of times why fathers aren't involved, because to speak what you just said, is that they don't know. And they're afraid to say they don't know, so they'll just rather not engage because they don't want to mess it up, or they don't know what to do. They don't know what there's no handbook when it comes to children, but mothers innately have some of the things that come in that you can kind of figure out. But for men, it's like, I don't know if I didn't have a father around, or if I didn't have a grandfather, or I have an uncle, so it's like, I don't want to mess this up, or I don't know what to do. So they will pull back, or I'll just work and bring home money, but I don't engage and stuff like that. They'll understand. And all of those things, like it's a plethora of different scenarios that can happen for you. But in the end, is what we do is we break it down. We melt people together, give them an opportunity to merge their thoughts with others' thoughts. And what you just said is like, some of you eat, some of you leave, some of you leave it for now, and then you come back to it later. It's like, you said that wasn't going on before, but now it is, and you understand how to adapt, because it's very crazy. And I'll give you another statistic that I know is a fact. They said a child without a father in the household, chances of going to jail at some point in his life, it's like, I think it's 70% or something like that. It's a crazy number, right? A child with a father in the household, chances is like 15%, right? Wow. Now, this is where it gets amazing, though. A father who has his child without a mother, what do you think the percentage is?
Looking forward to hearing
even less. I would say less.
No, this was amazing. It's like 13%. It still holds. So the common denominator is having a male figure involved. And a study that what got me even more involved was this. From 0 to 5, a child is solely dependent on their mother. The mother is she embeds and puts everything into our children, and a mother cannot increase or decrease their role or their power or their connection with this child after 0 to 5. But after 5 years old, what that child will do and become is contingent on a male involvement in that child's life.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it's serious. It's very serious. You got to be very intentional on what you do and how you do it. I walk in sometimes in the classrooms, and, little Billy's running around, and he doesn't want to, follow the program today. And you come in and be like, come on, man, Billy, let's do it this way. Let's do it like that. And then Billy gets up and does it. And he'd be like, see, he would do it for you, or stuff like that. And it's not just the men are just the greatest thing in the world, but sometimes it's different aspects of how we have to operate things. And it's not even that you coming in as a dominating factor, like, come on, Billy, get up now. It's just different sometimes, So that's just some of the things. I'm rambling too. I'm going too far.
No, you're not. No, it's that role model. You're really speaking to the importance of the role model.
Great.
And I also read that it's, even if a mother and father don't live in the same house together, to have a presence in their child's life throughout that child's life, the success factor is so much higher. Both my husband and I come from divorced families, and we were very fortunate that our fathers were active throughout our whole life and still are today. And that, I think we attribute a lot of our life success to that relationship that we have and had with our dads. For sure.
I too come from a divorced family, but my father never, he was very impactful as much as he was able to be. And that continued on, to this day. My father was 87, but yes, that's something that we, you just don't never know it. You just don't realize how important it is because you see it and you're like, oh, I'm doing the best that I can do and everything. But everything has an equal equation, and it needs the other part of the equation.
Right.
Well put.
Absolutely.
Well put.
Yeah.
So one of the questions we wanted to ask you has to do with some work that you all have done with the Warrick Dunn Foundation. I'm a fellow Seminole, so I had to bring that up with his charities.
Go Noles! I'm a big Noles fan. I went to celebrate. Go Noles!
Whoa!
Noles!
We had a good weekend.
I'm a big Noles fan. We had a great weekend. That was what we're going to the Miami game. All I need to do is beat Miami and Clemson, and I don't care what we do. Go Noles!
All right.
Okay. So,
Allison, you can hang out with me any day.
I love it. And I'm married to a Gator, so don't hold that against me.
oh my God.
Oh, man.
We got an interesting
You don't
household.
like them swamp buddies. You don't like them swamp buddies. Well, it was a really good weekend for you, Allison.
It was.
Them Gators got beat down, and then oh man, yeah.
It was not pretty. It was not pretty.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll go ahead and ask him about the Fatherhood
Go
Initiative
ahead.
Task Force.
Please do. Yeah. Go ahead, Serena.
So, Isaac, the Fatherhood Initiative Task Force has worked collaboratively with former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Atlanta Falcon Warrick Dunn and his organization, Warrick Dunn Charities. Could you describe the work you've done together and what plans you guys have for the future?
Well, first of all, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to work side by side with the Dunn Charities and Warrick. He's always been very open, very progressive, and making himself who he is. He's a human being, and he's very approachable. But for fathers to see and hear and ask these questions and be able to do, we've done some financial literacy. He's very big on being financial literate and knowing what to do and how to handle things. We've done gardens with him, bringing out dads to plant gardens and showing how they can do stuff at home with him. He's just very transparent, and the program is too. So it's done a lot. We plan on more outings together to do things. Just get back, watch some games, some Knoll games, some things just to do and barbecues and just more interaction, but being very transparent, because sometimes we feel like our celebrities, our stars, our heroes are not human. Like they don't have this problem. they don't get this. They ain't got to worry about no bills. They don't have to worry about this, but it's so far from the truth because they experience the same thing. So him sitting down and coming and bringing his program and showing and teaching and allowing himself to be even a vessel of encouragement and also knowledge, it's been amazing. And it brings the dads in too. A lot of dads are football fans and they're just like, oh, wow, I get this. And he gets to tell, it's like, they come for one thing and they come back with like, wow, I learned something. So there's an abundance of things that we're continuing to work out and plan within our program to get those things to happen. We got some fantasy football leagues starting up and some other little things. So it's cool. It's really good.
Nice.
That is great.
Next, looking ahead, Isaac, what are the long-term aspirations for the Early Learning Fatherhood Initiative Task Force? And the second part of that question is, how do you envision its growth and continued impact on fathers and families?
So if it was up to me, the first question was, what was the first question? Growth?
Long-term aspirations of the initiative.
Long-term aspirations initiatives is this. I would like this to be a nationally adapted program by the YMCA, not just for our early learning, but we can go into the fathers of our coworkers, the fathers of our staff, the fathers of our community, and put it all together, because you're only as strong as your weakest link, but you're only as strong as your members. So we can get more members to be more involved and more invested into it. We can be able to do things that are we can't even imagine.
Absolutely.
And I would love for the Y stamp to be by, how much the Y, we already know how much work the Y does on a daily basis with our communities and our youth and our families. But can you imagine if we had our Y program from a fatherhood standpoint, that we can walk in and say, this is the fatherhood program from the Y, and how many men's lives and children's and family lives that we can change? And I think that's very achievable. It's just, you gotta walk before you run, but it's very achievable. So, my mission right now is to, you work where you are and create that first. So my goal is to, with the rest of the fellas and everyone on staff, is to expand and continue to grow our local and Atlanta area. And then move forward after that. But that would be my ultimate goal, that you can see a shirt with a YMCA logo that says fatherhood on it, and it's recognizable. Not even that it's like, oh, that's a cool shirt. But it's like, oh, that's the program. Yeah, I was,
Right.
How do I know more? How can I be part? So that's my goal. Yeah.
I love it. Actually, that's my follow-up question. How can we become more involved in that? Being that those of us that are outside of the LLC, so we don't work in the same building, but for those of us that may have an early learning connected to our Ys, how can we either become involved with yours or take those steps to begin a program at those ELYs?
Well, my information is, my email is Isaac, ISAACW @ymcatlanta.org. You can follow, you can attach there. If you are at an ECDC early learning program, you can go to your FSA or your center manager. They will have information to sign you up to be a part of. Or if you're listening to this podcast, like I said, you can come here and just send an email to someone. Someone will find you on our early learning program. Somebody will find a way to connect you with us. And I also would like to, if it's possible, maybe not, maybe I don't know how many times you guys do the podcast, but if it's a monthly or bi-monthly thing, we can come in and give you an update on things that we got coming on to continue to grow and spread the word and the message to make this a better situation and a more united front. We're all, again, what the Y does well is that the Y comes together. And when we come together, we're very formidable in our communities and everywhere else. And that's a standard that we present that a lot of organizations have not really figured it out. They can put the time, they can put the money, but they don't understand that it's the connectivity of what we do. So we're all from different walks of life, but being very fluid in understanding that, but accomplishing and finishing the goal. So so, again, if, ISACW @ymcaatlanta.org or your center managers, or you can even, if you go to a YMCA facility, just saying you want to get in contact with someone from the early learning program, and they'll be able to put you into it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say that Isaac spearheads a field day at all of our early learning centers every year. So that's a great time to come out at any of the early learning centers to support for field day.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Got that.
Yes, the field day was very father initiative. We was very proud this year. It was so this is my this is my first official leader year this year, and we won something this year. So early learning won something. Give it up for early learning, and we were highly competitive, and we love those things. And yes, we would like to have the dads to come out for that, and then we did the regular field days, and I had all the fathers come out for the different sites, and if you can see these pictures, I walked in one room. I was in, I think it was Greene or Morgan. It was Morgan, I believe. I walked into Morgan County and walked in the room, and there was nothing but dads in there. Like, what can we do? We're ready. It almost brought a tear to my eye. It was like, at least 30 dads there. And it was like, how we get, and look, I had to set up the stuff, and they all set up everything so fast, and we're there taking pictures, cheering, and seeing. And what I try to tell all parents, sometimes we forget, those memories last forever, and they can't be beaten. A new Mercedes, a big house, a this, none of those things will matter. It cannot kill. It would never overcome or trump those memories. And I believe we live our life mostly for our memories and experiences. So if you can give that to your child and they can remember these things, it's priceless. There's nothing of value. Absolutely. They can smell it or see it. At 30 years old, you're like, oh, I remember that day Dad came out and competed in the what's the name, and he fell, and it smelled just like this outside. That was 30 years ago, but it never goes away. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So we need to create those.
I love the picture you paint, Isaac. And truly, your program that you're leading embodies what this whole podcast is about. So we'd love to have you back, and we'd love to have you bring some dads from the program with you as well. So count on us calling on you again. I have one final question for you. We always close out our episodes asking our guests to share their why story, their pathway to the why. Could you share how you were first connected to the YMCA?
My very first, I was coaching. Carver YMCA brought me over and asked me could I coach. I was doing some community work, and they said they needed coaches, and I started helping out with like the basketball and the t-ball, and then I had kids. And then I had my son involved into the t-ball. Then it went into the basketball. And when he turned 4, he was enrolled in Dean Rusk Early Learning. And I was one of those that I just wanted to know what was going on. So what I did is I took about 30 minutes to an hour after I dropped him off to help deliver the breakfast in the morning at Dean Rusk. And what I would do is deliver all the breakfast to the classrooms, speak to all the kids. And the only place I didn't deliver a breakfast to was my sons most of the time, because I wasn't there for just him. I wanted to see the environment and the community, and then see where I could help at. You know, it was hectic in the morning. We got to make sure the kids eat, you know, stuff like that. And I did that, and then I was asked to come out. I would come to all the parent engagements, and that's one thing I'll tell you that, look, parents, this is not just fathers, but your child's success is only going to be as much as you're involved into the program of the school. You can go to the worst school in the world, but if you're engaged, those teachers, those administrative staff, be like, yeah, but we have these programs and that program. We're going to make sure your child is right. We're going to make sure when we saw your child make a left that we put them back on the right, because they know you care as a parent. So, and you know, some people say, oh, that's not fair, and they should care that way for every child, and it's true. But at some point, it's also about who they know is invested into their child's life. So I would come around and they said, hey, can you should come to a policy council meeting or election or whatever. Came there, and I became a representative for the policy council for Dean Rusk. And then we had the big policy council meeting, and I ended up, they nominated me, and I ran for vice president or vice chair or vice president. And I got the chance to serve under Miss Summer Smothers, who was a great president, and she taught me a lot. And then she transitioned and ended up working for the Y. And then I took over the presidency, and I was the president for 3 years. I had children, and so I was the president for 3 years of the YMCA. So I got to see the other side from the YMCA board, all the things that comes in from early learning and voting and stuff like that. And then my daughter actually started going to Offer Blank when it was her time to go to school. And then I became the chair of fundraising, and I was on the early learning board there. Then I got to meet cool guys like Richard. Anybody know Richard upstairs from Auburn, the War Eagle? He's big, but I got to serve on his board with fundraising and financials and meeting different people. And then eventually over the time, I ended up becoming I got a chance to be one of the volunteers of the year. I got nominated and I won that. And then I ended up working for the Y. So I came over and stuff like that. So I continued to coach, and all my kids learn how to swim from the Y. They've been to all the summer camps. And now my son he's having a lot of success as an actor. And he's, like I said, he's 14. He's captain for the Atlanta Falcons. He walks them in every home game. Wow. And so he's doing all of those big things. He won his litigation at Fulton County Court. He's on a litigation team. He won that. He goes to regular public school. But he came out of Dean Rusk. People ask me all the time, and I like to say this a lot. The enhance the program is people say, "Yo, what did y'all do? Like, what schools did you have him in?" When I say, "Oh, we went to Dean Rusk Early Learning." Like, what? It was like, yeah, and it was like, yes. And they'd be like, it's like, so, and my daughter is, she made it to the nationals for the Junior Olympics for running track, and she does dance, and she went to Arthur Blank, and they're like, so, hey, what's the secret? And the secret, I was involved in these programs are out here, and they're for you, and you have to take advantage of them. And so, yeah, so I'm all in. I've been all in now for over 10 years on the Y. I love the Y. I love what it represents. I love what it has. You know, you have every company has their lingo. They're good, they're bad, but what the Y stands for, nothing goes above the standard. So that's nothing goes above the standard. We have a standard and we maintain it to the best of our ability, and that's why I like it. And my children have. I sat on the board for this new center being built for a year. I went to every community meeting. Sat there with Ed when he was our CEO, and then I developed a great relationship with Lauren, and it just I've been there. Yeah, I've seen it all. So,
thank you.
That's my why. That's why I why.
I love your why.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. This has been great, Isaac. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm excited. You guys are great. You guys are really doing it. Look, I've heard so much things about this podcast. I was jealous and I had envy because I think it's so great. I think it's seriously. I'm telling you, and I have ideas for y'all to break it, make it even bigger.
Great.
But I promise you, this right here, you have to understand. Most people don't have time, or they don't make time to do things, but you're giving them a new avenue to have time to see these things, to download it and watch it and listen or whatever. And it's very important that we continue to grow and find all ways to communicate and give connection. And we don't know what little tidbit that any of us can say that will increase and make someone have a better day and a better life.
Very thankful for that endorsement.
Yes, thank you.
We wonder sometimes, is anybody listening? Like, is that right? We just wonder. So no, bring the ideas. We love them, Isaac, and we love the endorsement of the podcast. Again, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you for being a valued listener.
I'm gonna spread the news, and I continue to keep doing what you guys are doing, and any way I can be a vessel of helping, I'm serious. I'll do it, and everybody knows that with me. So if I can help, that's true. I will.
And Isaac, if I may say, thank you for your energy, and thank you for your excitement for doing what you do. You can tell that you love what you do, and that's very important.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's the secret. Kids keep you young.
Yes, they do.
Young and flexible. You gotta be the stuff that you hear and see in the mornings and the afternoons. If you ain't young and flexible, it's not gonna work. And I tell people all the time, this is the children business. If you're not, it's one thing about I like kids. There's one thing I love kids, and then there's one thing I'm invested in kids. Those are three different things. So you need to know what. Very true. When you come in, and in order to work with children, you need to have all three. Can't have one, two, or three. You got to have three. You got to like them, love them, and you're invested in them. Because when you don't like them anymore, you're like, but I still love them. When you don't love them anymore, you're like, but I'm invested in seeing them grow.
Yes, well put.
That's right.
Thanks again, Isaac. We loved having you.
I love you guys too. Thank you. You guys be safe.
Enjoyed you.
Thank you, my man.
All right, you too. Great show.
Thank you for listening to the Why Podcast. To continue the conversation or to find your closest why, please connect with us at ymcaatlanta.org and sign up for our newsletter, Healthy Together.
Dad!